Hello and welcome to our weekly series review of the biggest show on TV at the moment, American
It's
Gods.
big.
It is big and it looks big and it's going to get bigger, said the vicar to the showgirl.
Oh,
Yeah. So series one, episode two, what is it called, Martin?
it's about the secret spoon.
The
Well,
secret
the
of
secret of spoon.
secret of spoon or of the spoon,
So,
which introduces a lot of elements, I think. Um,
I'd
yeah,
agree. I'd agree. Characters, let's say.
absolutely introduces Peter Stormare and his lovely big bleeding sledgehammer.
Oh, he loves a big hammering, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. It also, I think, starts to reveal the road movie narrative that the kind of plot culminates in this pretty tense, pretty well executed game of checkers between our protagonist, Shadow,
The shadow
and
of the moon.
the Shadow Moon. What a great name. And Peter Stormare's character, who, God, he's brilliant. Can we just do an episode about how great Peter Stormare is
Him and
and
his
how he just,
giant hammer.
his giant bleeding sledgehammer. Peter Stormare is one of those actors that makes everything better, and it's like they've kind of stuffed this show with that. Like, well,
Of
Ian
quality
McShane.
carry
Ian
on
McShane
actors.
is again, yeah. Ian McShane is you want something to be good, put Ian McShane in it because he's an actor with class coming out of his ass. Um, but yeah, so this episode starts to introduce the kind of road movie dynamic of this show, of the narrative, which has a nice kind of propulsion, this cross country drive. Is starting to take shape. What else do we learn more about? What did you think of it? As again, you're a kind of a nice.
I haven't got a clue what's going on kind of guy. I would say that continues. It picks up once again with a coming to America story.
Another coming to America, another doomed and dark and disparaging coming to America.
I was trying to work out. I'm not sure which kind of god this is. If it's like the spider god, the Nancy.
Yeah,
I assume it's an African god. I'm not
of
sure the religion.
I imagine of some form of theology, African theology. I imagine so. Yeah,
Okay, so little Spider Man.
who has this interesting. What I really am liking about this show is how they are adapting it, contextualizing it in a modern setting, even to the point of later there is a dialogue of they've changed Shadow as a character who in the book is very much a cipher, an enigma. I always kind of envisioned him. He's described as tall and dark, very, very tall and big, but I always had him as kind of this more of a Native American figure of sorts. But in
Yes.
this, they do contextualize that he's a black man, and there are hints of that quite interestingly played with, as well as how they contextualize that opening boat scene of the slaves being brought to America with this kind of soliloquy, this monologue by this spider god, essentially, who tells these black men
Oh yes, yes.
of their doom and the horror generations and generations, tens and hundreds of years down the line, of how they will get, persecuted. And it's this kind of really interesting, quite topical and quite biting.
Very topical. Yes.
It's done quite interestingly, actually, which is something that obviously the book was written in, well, I don't know, 2001 or something like that. So there's a different context, and they have actually updated it in a way that I do find quite interesting and relevant, which is cool, and I've got to give it props to that. What else do we have in the show? We've got, like I say, the openings, the start of this kind of road trip thing. We've got a picture of a big dick.
Yes. See,
Great.
you see how they lured you in with that. So basically, Shadow Moon.
Did they? Sorry, how did they lure you in
No,
with
no.
the dick?
Listen me out. Listen me out. So Shadow Moon finds his wife's phone, and of course she doesn't have a pin on it for some reason. So he can
Yeah.
go straight into her phone. goes
don't have
into the
mine.
messages to
And I've got
see.
loads of dick pics.
Shut up. To see what her and this guy that she was found dead with a penis in
Robbie,
his mouth.
his best
Robbie, best friend Robbie. Have they been chatting? And it looks like, standard like text, like couple of word text, and then he scrolls up and there's a big old penis lying in
Big
wait.
old penis. That is a big old penis.
It's a big old penis. Oh, is smiling him in the face, but she doesn't. In the text, it's as though she doesn't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
So, will it? Is that how it's going to turn out? Where either he's not blackmailing her or something along those lines, where it's a one-sided thing.
I am not going to say. It's interesting how you choose to read it. I think at the moment it is. Obviously, I'm not going to say where it goes, but I remember being the book being like, because I'm, like I said, again, not to spoil anything down the road, but she has, in a way, still a part to play, which they are foreshadowing in the TV show already. But they're foreshadow mooning. Very good. They are,
I'm interested. How did they describe that in the book?
Well, the big dick.
Yeah.
I don't remember them doing it.
Goes down the phone and the big old dick is there.
No, well, again, the book's written in like 2001.
Oh, yes,
so
of course, yeah.
Weirdly historical now. It's over 15 years ago. So that again is a update, I guess. Definitely though, the film is quite. The book is pretty graphic in some of its depictions of sex, which I think that the film can only. The TV show again can only hint at without getting absolutely ripped off the air. And like it's there's some pretty seedy, salacious, dirty sex in it, and so on. I'm not going to get into it too much again, but that's an element of the show that I thought was quite interesting. And then obviously we have the introduction of Peter Stormare's. What's his name? I can never pronounce his name, and I've never had to because I've always just had his name written down. But it's Senersburg.
Oh, I can't even remember now.
Is Peter Stormare's character's name, who has, like we say, a big old bloody sledgehammer, and a sledgehammer oozing with the blood of the millions, well, the thousands it's killed. So obviously this is set. Well, there's more to it than that. This is setting him up as something that thrives on
violence,
blood
yes,
and taking of
more
life.
Of an executioner, I would say.
Yeah, and him and his the lady cohorts he lives with. I thought, well, they have certainly a part to play, and there's this wonderful grey area of characters that no one quite sits in the black and white, good and bad. And even as the narrative goes on, I think that's something that you'll feel more and more so, is that there's no good and bad, there's no black and white, there's no right and wrong in this story. It's all, this culmination of moralities and theologies and beliefs and interest. It becomes quite the dark tale, as I think you can tell already. But yeah, what did you make of Senersburg, or Peter Stormare, as we'll just call him?
It's tricky. The first time I'm meeting every character on screen, I'm thinking, like, who are they? What is their role going to be? Is this person a god? Like, what are they going to bring to it? With him, I assume he is a god, just because he's got such a powerful sort of presence on screen.
Yeah,
and he sort of commands, this screen time he has got. But it's what role are his sisters going to play? Were they sisters?
It's kind of ambiguous. I've always thought they were. He has a couple, and then there's another character that comes into play.
There's a hidden sister, isn't there? That's
and there's also
quite scared of. I got the sense of.
There's another man as well who comes into play, and these are definitely, if they are gods of some sort or deities or whatever, they're definitely forgotten, or the ones that have been kind of left adrift.
Yes.
Which is a big theme of the show, well, of the story, is gods who are being forgotten. And these gods are immortal to an extent, but the only thing that can really kill them is people forgetting about them and people not, because they thrive on belief and on prayer, and that's how they're fed in a way. And that's, going back to the first episode with the consuming via the vagina sequence,
which continued into the second episode.
Yeah, we got a bit more of bit of lesbian vagina consuming.
Yeah, so
Bliquis is the name of that. Yeah, that character, and she obviously she is almost like a personification of something definitely much grander as well. And there's a interesting and bloody culmination of that plotline as well. Yeah, so what do you make of it? Well, I found that final checker sequence, even though I knew what's happening, I still found it quite well made, good, well played, tense, and it's got a bloody dark ending as well, hasn't it? Because
there was a point in there just before the ending where he's basically, he loses, doesn't he? But there's a point in there where Shadow Moon's, he has a glimmer in his eye, like, I've figured it out, I know what to do, how to win, and then he loses, and I was like, well, what was that then?
Yeah, and again, the only thing I can stress is this is not your atypical hero protagonist narrative where he vanquishes all and lives to tell the tale. But it's not as simple as.
Is he going to hit him on the head with a hammer and he just bounces off?
No, because that would be a bit Superman.
Yeah, I know.
Basically, it's not quite that. It's
shatters of the hammer.
It's dark though, but they've got a lot more to come between those two, and so on.
Well, in each episode so far, Shadow Moon has taken quite a bit of damage.
Yeah. Oh, can we just? I think we should do an episode on how handsome Ricky Whittle is. He's a good-looking lad, isn't he?
He's doing well for himself with his looks and all that.
He is aided by this very stylized, very glossy, grainy, quite like high contrast, very like sharp images that are really, really stylistic, almost as far as to remind you of things like 300 or even Sin City, that kind of real stark, pulpy, neo-noir.
Yes, I would totally agree.
Almost, graphic novel vibe, but done to a kind of glossy sheen. It's like I say, it keeps going. It looks. I guess that's why they can only do 8 episodes a series, because
there's a lot of money going into this.
Yeah, and you can see it up on screen. It looks the part.
How are you? Obviously, I haven't seen it. I haven't read the book, so I am still same as I was when I finished watching the first episode. Just what is going on?
Yeah.
I get the sense, in the same way that this is the only sort of connection I can make to this and Game of Thrones, is that it builds for the last couple of episodes. I get the sense we're building for something great.
We're
doing the legwork.
To be honest, weirdly, the book never quite has.
Oh, it just stays like this, confusing.
No,
and slow.
Kind of. The book doesn't quite give you the big climactic payoffs that maybe you want. Like, it doesn't. They might do it for the show. I don't know how they're going to work that out. But it doesn't have a Battle of the Bastards. It doesn't have this huge cathartic, climax of a narrative. It's all about shit going on and weird ideas smashing into other weird ideas. And once that starts to take root is where you'll start maybe finding it more rewarding. Because at first, I totally understand what you mean. It's only once you get everything that's at play.
Yes.
Because things are at play.
They're holding back.
They are, and it's kind of like with a narrative this big and admittedly batshit, you have to drip feed it. If they just went, this is who everyone is. This is what you just be like, what the like. You have to be, like I say, you have to be gradually led into it, which may not be the most kind of like attention grabbing way of doing it, because first few episodes you may be utterly lost. But I think it's doing a good job of being stylish and compelling enough on a kind of aesthetic level, and the performances are all kind of really good, and they've got enough charm and charisma, and then when it does have a moment like the consuming vagina or this kind of checkers game, these kind of little set pieces scattered around, that I think those things peppered out, I hope are enough to keep people going. Because, well, I mean, this series is meant to take us up to about, I think, about a third of the way through the book, and I really hope they get to the end of the book in the show. It would be a massive, massive shame not to.
Oh, totally. And I guess like you say, they have got a lot of characters introduced, get sort of backstories in place. There is a lot of it's all going to sort of culminate around Mr. Wednesday. He's the gatherer of old people,
of old gods, perhaps.
The old ones.
He is. God, it's almost like there's enough in this for fucking, 20 fucking seasons if they wanted to. I mean, like, I don't want them to drag it out. I kind of like it. I'd like it as like a neat 3 or 4 series. That would be kind of like,
yeah, you don't want to do it.
That would be a big, weighty, satisfying amount of show. Especially 8 episodes, 3-4 series. That would be really good.
Really good.
It's a weird one, isn't it? It's where are you? What's your levels of anticipation for the next one? Where do you feel?
I haven't got a clue. I'm not. It hasn't grabbed me.
No,
I am not grabbed. I need something to happen.
Right.
I feel like that needs to come. Otherwise, a lot of people who haven't read the books are just going to be like, "Well, that was a whole episode of them just chatting about having dinner, and then having dinner, then playing some checkers."
Yeah.
Meanwhile, some girl eats some load of people for a vagina. That's about it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I do know what you mean, and I do kind of sympathise with your point in that. I
want to see God on God action. I want to see.
Yeah, you're not going to get that, mate. You're not going to get.
What am I doing here?
It's more than that. I think, but it kind of, like I say, it kind of has to do this. It's got to lay the groundwork. I do know what you mean, that there aren't kind of cataclysmically large things going on at the moment. It is just kind of, it's character building. It absolutely is. It's getting to know these guys, getting to know what their place is in the narrative at the beginning.
Yeah. So
that once the journey kind of, does take off, you're there with them. And this is why I think perhaps it would be really cool to do it as a, here's the 8 episodes, smash them.
Yes, I agree. I reckon they need. Amazon are going with this whole route of 1 episode a week.
Yeah, like they did with Preacher, which, just to mention, off tangent, is coming back next month, I think.
Ooh.
Middle of June, and we'll be doing another weekly series review of that. But go on.
Yeah, they are doing this, and I prefer Netflix's take on things. Since Netflix have done it, that's sort of how you sort of want a series to come now. It's just to be like, bam, watch 10 of them.
When Netflix now do it as a weekly episode, it's weird when that happens.
They are, and is it because they're running short on content? Like, they're like, maybe. We'll drop this one, but then we'll also, this one can leak over a few weeks.
It keeps people coming back. But yes, to a point, I imagine so, because Amazon don't have as many big, tentpole original shows. But to a point, I think what they think is it will keep people coming back. But this is a show that's so kind of, I think every episode ends with enough intrigue and enough like what's going on to go, I'll find out by just watching the next one. But spanned across the course of 2 months, people might not have that momentum kept up.
Yes.
You know, so it's an interesting one. Obviously, I'm going to watch it. You're going to watch it because you have to, because we're doing this. But
You're forcing me.
yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm still kind of digging it. I did watch the first episode again, and I'm going to watch the second one again at some point. I'm liking what it's doing with it. I'm liking how it's doing it. And obviously I have a bit more invested in it because I know where it's going, and I have a deep
Emotional connection.
Exactly. I fucking love the book, so I'm really happy to see it up on a screen. But
I'm excited to see what happens. I do want to see how this all unfolds. It's something new. We haven't seen anything like this on TV.
No, yeah,
Ever,
I've seen
so...
like I've seen the taglines, the people saying, "Oh, it's a bit Game of Thrones sets right," but it's not. It's not quite
nothing like Game of Thrones.
Obviously, it's not apart from maybe in terms of the production value, but it's not thematically. You can't really relate it to much else out there. It's a real weird one.
I think people are so quick to take this like gore and sex as that means they're trying to be Game of Thrones.
Yeah, for sure.
But it is nothing like it.
It's nothing like it
at all. Other than the fact that, like I said earlier, it's building.
It's building, and we're going to be there to see it
all the way through.
Yeah. And we'll be back with next week's reaction review episode. So watch along with us. Follow us on the social medias. This is going to be coming at you on YouTube, like I say, weekly on our YouTube, which is just OK Squirrel.
No, it was just OK Squirrels,
I think it's just OK Squirrel. On Spotify. What?
No, Spotify. Yeah, we're in music. We play music now.
Yeah, we're just musicians.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a podcast that you can get on iTunes or whatever your podcast outlet may be. I get it on Podcast Addict. That sounds like a sponsor. It's not. It's just where I get my podcast. We're on Facebook. Like us on Facebook because no one does. Twitter, Instagram. We're going to start pumping more content out on Instagram again. We're going to have a few more guests coming up, hopefully, as well, which will be exciting.
Riveting.
What do you have to say, Martin?
That's it, riveting. I'm excited. Let's keep going, man. This is good. Let's get some people involved. If you want to come and join us, let us know.
Yeah, if you're not a
creep.
Actually, beggars can't be choosers.
Please, we'll take creep over just me and you.
Yeah.
Anyway, It's been wonderful.
It has.
Onwards and upwards to episode 3.
What's that one called, Martin?
I'm just looking. Head full of snow. Oh.
Is it?
Oh, okay. Looks like we're going north.
Okay.
Unless it's all about Coke.
Yeah.
I don't know with this show. Hey.
Just them on an hour-long bender. Sounds good.
I think that will bring some greatness to the show.
It would explain probably some of the weird, trippy elements.
Yeah, everyone's just coked up. There we go.
Okay.
Right, nice one.
Signing off.
Cheerio.